200,000 Mainers live with food insecurity, which means not having enough regular access to food to lead a healthy life. And this includes 60,000 children. 1 in 4 children in Maine live with hunger. In Maine, like the rest of the United States, the problem with hunger is not lack of access to calories, it's lack of access to healthy food. And that is why for the first time we have an entire generation of people who are overweight and malnourished. And for the first time, hunger and obesity are now two sides of the same coin.
Mainers Feeding Mainers started back in 2010. As we started looking at our donations that were coming in, we realized that we were receiving less on our donations. And the types of donations we were receiving was a lot of snacks and candy type food.
Good Shepherd Food Bank is committed to getting the most nutritious food possible for our clients. Historically, the food bank gets most of its food donations from retailers and manufacturers. And while a lot of the large agricultural companies out in the West Coast and the Southeast were providing wonderful donations of food, by the time the produce got to Maine, the transportation costs made it extremely expensive and the shelf life was greatly diminished. Our thought with Mainers Feeding Mainers was that if we could reduce the distance between the farm and the food bank, we could dramatically increase the quantity, the quality, and the shelf life of the produce while also bringing down the cost.
The funders that we work with, we take their grant money to purchase the produce, and then it is able to go out of our warehouses at no cost to any of our member agencies.
The Mainers Feeding Mainers program is creating business solutions to seemingly intractable social problems in some incredible ways. It's creating economic prosperity for our farms by contracting with them to grow food. It's creating a lifeline to that food for folks who have no other place to get it but through the food pantries that the Good Shepherd Food Bank serves. And it's creating wealth and resilience in communities by supporting those farms and growing the farm sector overall. And these market-based solutions are a boon to the Maine economy overall and grows Maine as a state overall.
I think one of the key elements of Mainers Feeding Mainers is that it's about understanding that there's a need for the food. The healthy food, the fresh food, the food from Maine, but it's also an understanding that the people who are producing these raw materials, these products in Maine, also need to have viable businesses. So it's a win-win.
One of the big advantages to us was the contract. Good Shepherd actually contracts for a specific product, get a specific price through a specific point of time, and in the fresh vegetable business, that's very unusual. You do not get firm contracts, and so that contract is pretty valuable. It's something you can depend on.
With a guaranteed purchase from Good Shepherd, it allows us to have more predictability in the business, so it evens out some of the highs and lows during the growing season.
We're a guaranteed sale for them. The food bank doesn't care if the tomato isn't the right shade of red or if the carrots are perfectly straight. We'll take whatever they have. And if a certain crop fails, we'll take a different crop, because all that matters to us is that we get fresh produce for people in need.
Last year, we had contracted to grow Good Shepherd quantity of apples, and we had a freeze here in May. Really lost almost a complete crop. So Good Shepherd switched it over so we could supply corn and tomatoes and some other crops in place of that. So that's a big benefit to the farm.
We rely on 3 distribution channels to get the produce out to people in need. The first is that the produce goes to one of our 3 warehouses throughout the state, and pantries can come to the warehouse to pick up the produce directly. The second is we use our mobile food pantry, where we load up the produce and we drive to a particular area and distribute the produce directly to families in need. And the last is that the food pantry can pick up the produce directly at the farm. The direct farm to pantry channel is especially helpful for our rural pantries, who sometimes are hours away from a Good Shepherd warehouse.
It's really satisfying to deliver that product and have some of the users of the Good Shepherd tell you how much they appreciate the food they're getting. It's a good feeling.
With the Mainers Feeding Mainers program, Jordan's Farm looks at the 5 food pantries that we provide product to as a wholesale customer. They place their order, we harvest it, we pack it, they come and they pick up, or we deliver if they're in close proximity to Jordan's Farm.
Our food pantry partners really benefit from this program. Not only do they get wonderful, healthy produce, but the extended shelf life that they get because the produce is so fresh is a huge advantage. Many of our pantries are only open certain days of the week or even certain days of the month. So this longer shelf life allows them to distribute the produce more widely to people in need that they serve.
Mainers Feeding Mainers provides food to more than 600 agencies in all 16 counties in Maine. One of those agencies is Mid-Coast Hunger Prevention Program in Brunswick.
My name is Sue Elsesser. I'm the Food Pantry Coordinator at Mid-Coast Hunger Prevention Program. Our goal here is to serve people who are income eligible, who come to our food pantry because they're in need of food and resources to feed themselves and their family. Every year we serve over 1,200 families in the food pantry, and Mainers Feeding Mainers is a big part of helping us reach that goal. By partnering with Mainers Feeding Mainers, we're able to provide local, nutritious food. Our clients have been so appreciative of being able to receive food that they might not ordinarily be able to afford themselves by going to the supermarket or a farmer's market.
Clearly, the people who benefit most from this program are the families in need who use our food pantries. Healthy food tends to be the most expensive food, and often this is the food that families tend to go without in order to stretch their food dollars.
I'm Sherry Burke. I cook in the soup kitchen, I'm a client, and I volunteer in the food bank at Mid-Coast Hunger Prevention. Even though they might not have a lot of money to go buy the food, they can still eat really well. And of course, people need to eat well for their health and for a lot of reasons, but especially for their health. And sometimes, the people that can least afford to be sick are the ones that can least afford the healthy food that's going to keep them healthy. You are going to feel better if you're eating good food. You are going to feel better. You're certainly not going to, hopefully have the health problems. The more nutrition you can get into people, the better they're going to feel, the more energy they're going to have, sure. And I think there is something to the idea that they're going to feel better about themselves. People come in, they get vegetables that are really, really fresh and really, really taste good, and they really don't need that much preparation. That's another thing that I think people forget. They taste so good if you don't do a lot to them, so you don't have to be a gourmet cook and do, a complicated recipe with 52 ingredients and a swirly sauce on the plate. You can just cook them, and they taste really good, and that makes you want to eat more of them.
Fresh produce is a luxury for many families. We've had multiple times when our foodmobile pulls up and families see the fresh produce and it moves them to tears because it has been so long since they've been able to bite into a fresh apple.
Jordan's Farm is about growing food to feed people, and we grow a lot of food. And our goal is to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to partake in our harvest. And so it was a natural fit for us to become part of this program. And it's a natural fit because we were also brought up to give back to the community.
I think it's important for everyone, farmers and others, to participate in helping out the less fortunate. I realize that we all may be in need at some time in our life, so I think that those of us that can should be doing stuff to support those that are in need at the present time.
It's just a great program, and hopefully it can be expanded and developed. There still are people who are hungry, and there still are farms that could benefit by participating in a similar program. It just makes a lot of sense that this food that we have in Maine get to the people who need it.
Well, I would hope with the Mainers Feeding Mainers program, it can grow and other farms will be able to participate in it. And also it can be spread to other states so that people here and other places can get good, locally grown, wholesome product.
With the success of the program, we're now thinking about what's next. And what's next for us is trying to make this produce available year-round. So we're thinking about cold storage opportunities and processing. This way, Mainers in need can access this great produce every month of the year.
You know, farming, especially in Maine, is very seasonal, and our storage program allows us then to become year-round and to keep employees through the wintertime. Again, you know, Good Shepherd and Mainers Feeding Mainers is an important component of that whole process.
The Mainers Feeding Mainers program has been incredibly successful here in the state, and I have no doubt it will continue to grow here in Maine and continue to have success. It also has the incredible potential to be replicated in other states in greater New England, and that is really so exciting and an incredible mark of its success. One of the reasons we think it could immediately go out of the state of Maine and into the greater New England region is because we know that Maine has the capacity to not only feed its own people, but to feed people throughout New England. We have an untapped land base. We have untapped farmer talent that would just be extraordinary to get on board to start feeding not only more of Maine's people, but everyone in the Northeast region. And that is such an exciting proposition for the Mainers Feeding Mainers program because it could be a reality.
So it feels good to be feeding neighbors, you know, and that's what the Mainers Feeding Mainers program is all about. You know, who knows who may be hungry tomorrow. So if we can all kind of contribute to helping feed Maine people in whatever capacity, whether we're farmers or whether we're volunteers, that's a good thing to achieve.
None of this would have been possible without the support of the foundations and individuals who, like us, believe that no one should go hungry in Maine.